and welcome to The Straw Hat with Rabbi David Wolkenfeld and Rabbanit Goldie Guy. We are the official podcast of Anshe Shalom B'nai Israel Congregation, an Orthodox synagogue in the Lakeview neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois.
We are recording on a very special week, Rabbanit Goldie, and I want to, on behalf of all of our listeners and the entire community, I want to offer you a Mazal Tov on your engagement to Jonathan.
Thank you.
This was really, really thrilling news. Not necessarily surprising news for all of us, but
You've seen him around.
I've seen him around, not only that, I just want to say I haven't just seen him around. I've also admire him. Okay, and think he's really great. And
so do I.
That good. I'm glad you do. And I hope you always think he's great. And just really just thrilled for the two of you. And something very special when two great people find each other and they're great together.
Through shul.
Found each other through shul. That is correct. Another ASBI success story. Which we love that. We love those kinds of stories.
It's ASBI inspiring.
Hashtag ASBI inspiring. Absolutely. Oh, you should get your wedding in the New York Times. You should go for that.
And hashtag ASBI inspiring.
Well, after it's in the New York Times, then we can put it up on the bulletin board. That's
okay. I'll speak to my people.
Speak to your people.
I don't know who those people are.
You know, somebody, one of their reporters reached out to me about if there are neat Chicago weddings, I should tell her or him. But I don't remember what their name is. So somewhere in my email, I have a contact with the weddings person at the New York. All right, well, we'll see what we can do. Okay, I think you're an important person.
Thanks.
You should. Anyway, so that's not the least important element of this. But Mazal Tov, really happy for you guys, and just wish you lots and lots of happiness and lots of nachas, and just
thank you.
Build a bait ne'aman b'Yisrael.
The Lakeview.
Yes, a home loyal to the traditions of Israel. In Lakeview. Exactly. And it's also a week with some bittersweet news. As we're recording this on Tuesday, we are 24 to 48 hours away from Rabbanit Goldie. You're sharing news with the congregation that you're going to be leaving Anshe Shalom at some point this spring for a new position. So we have quite a few more or several more podcasts to record before then, so I don't want to dwell on your departure, but I just wanted to just acknowledge and thank you for what you've given us and what you're going to give us for the next few months. I'm
still here.
And just wish you, again, lots and lots of success. You have had a really profound impact on our community, and your impact on Klal Yisrael is going to grow, I know, and I'm really honored that our community played a part of that.
Thank you so much. It is bittersweet. It is really bittersweet. I was teaching my Parsha class this morning and thinking about not having that anymore, and I'll be sad to miss a lot of the points of connection that I have with everyone in this community just in my day-to-day. It's really... Community's become part of my life, and it's my work, but it's also part of my life, and things that make my day meaningful, my Torah study, what I think about, and it's going to be a big transition. It's going to be a big transition, a loss in some ways, and
so I want to give you another bracha then, okay? In light of that, which is that the relationships that are built on substantial matters, conversations of substance about meaningful things, those relationships endure, and the brachas, they should endure.
Willing.
And I can tell you from personal experience, having worked in one community for 5 years, then left, that there are people who still reach out, and I try to keep them part of people's lives, and people who I met here, and we had substantial relationships here around issues of importance when they've moved elsewhere. Many of them keep in touch, and it's incredibly gratifying when people keep in touch, even when that initial professional relationship doesn't exist anymore. It's incredibly gratifying, and my bracha is that should. I'm sure it will.
Thank you. It's sure also it's kind of different, right? I'll be transitioning in one way, but I hope to stay part of the community, at least for the near future. So I'll be here, right? I just won't be I'll still be a Rabbanit in the community, just not in a professional capacity as much. For ASBI.
Fantastic.
So I'm still here.
Fantastic. This Friday night is a women's Kabbalat Shabbat. That's really exciting. It's been a couple of months since we've had one.
Yeah.
And,
well, we've had waves of
illness. So yeah, we are taking advantage. We're going to
there's a lull, so you run for it.
Run for the lull. That's exactly. Yeah. No, just like as an aside, I really think it's important or advisable to do. Like, I think there was a period of time, some people lasted weeks, some people lasted months or years, where it's okay, we're gonna like hold our breaths and just wait until this is over. And I think that made a lot of sense when we thought that was going to happen. But I think as that seems less and less likely, it seems more and more important to just like be constantly calibrating what we do. And so it looks, thank God, like the numbers in Chicago have not been this good since before Delta. Like really, they have not been this good since June of 2021. And please God, continue to get better in the coming weeks. So like, okay, so now that
if you feel safe,
it's safer than it's been for months, and we should take it. Like you should take advantage.
If you feel safe, come join us. I think it's just been really rejuvenating to be in community with people, to see people again at shul, to have We've talked about how more kids are coming back, and programming is full-fledged, and. So this is part of that, right? Come back to your women's tefillah community, right? And that we have great speakers and great leaders lined up. Molly Jarrett's going to be leading Kabbalat Shabbat, and Lori Kaufman's giving the Dvar Torah, and it's going to be beautiful. We'll sing together. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm so excited.
And then there's snacks, right? There's like
a
kiddush.
Then there's going to be a little l'chaim for me and Jonathan. So that'll be really nice.
That's nice.
Thank you to the. I don't know if he gets to come.
It's like a shower. He goes at the end, maybe. Maybe he has like a shower. I think he gets to come at the end and say.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, that's really, really special. It's really special. Look, women's Kabbalah. It's a really nice liturgical element of our community. Women leading tefillah for other women. And I'm glad we can do it again. And just again, in general, I just think like, it's, I think objectively it is safer now than it has been for many months. And I just want to encourage you to take advantage of that. We don't know how long it will last. It might not last forever. So like while things are looking better, I encourage people to take advantage of that and prioritize community and these types of.
And nourish yourself, right? There's there's a big part of you that's missing when you don't engage in community, and like sometimes you don't miss it once it's been gone for too long. And it's so nourishing. Come, we'll sing together. I'm really excited.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody over Shabbat who lives in Teaneck, and Teaneck is a land of like giant modern Orthodox shuls, and those giant modern Orthodox shuls are struggling to get people back, and the shuls are so big. I think that it sort of maybe is less noticeable, but he said like people who went to house minyanim and backyard minyanim haven't really returned, and once you have so many options, you could just stay home and no one knows, right? So it's sort of interesting, like these challenges that we faced are being faced like really across the country, and I definitely understand the appeal of davening in your living room on sleeping late, davening in your living room, and having a second cup of coffee. Like I understand the appeal, but I think in the greater scheme of things, a life that includes a more robust, thick connection to community is actually a happier life, and a life that has more opportunities for kedusha and for chesed and human interactions. This Shabbat, you're hosting the teens for lunch. That is super exciting.
I'm hosting our new crop of madrichim and
very nice.
Our young teens who have taken over, jumped into leadership. Really, they really are excited to be leading and teaching, and it's been so fun to work with them. Like it's been an opportunity to get to know them, and also to really help them foster that sense of giving back. Right, that they can be leaders. They can teach Torah. They teach davening, and they're role models for the younger kids, and it's really fun. And I'm going to have them over for Shabbat lunch, just have like a little bit of a bonding session. We'll eat some nice vegetarian food together. I warned them it's vegetarian, but
my kids are coming all the same.
I don't know if we'll see after they listen to this. I hope they do come, and it should be really nice. It should be a really nice.
I'm really happy about it. I think this cadre of teens who are involved in leading groups and working, under your guidance on Shabbat morning. I don't recall having that many teens in shul, like sort of engaged in like shul programming, assuming responsibility, for others and for themselves. So since I've been here, we haven't seen it, and I don't think they were. And I think it, from what they tell me, there weren't so many teens for many years before that also. So it's really nice to see that. And I hope it's like meaningful for them as well as like it's obviously helping the younger kids.
Yeah.
But it's great to like take advantage, like now that you have them, answering to you, like try to like, to give them some professional development opportunities.
Yes, I really hope to. So that's what I hope. My hope is that we're going to, and I've already spoken to them about it, but we'll talk more about it for those who won't be at the lunch, which is everyone else listening to this podcast. We're going to do some training, and maybe I'll give them a little bit of my wisdom as an educator, about how to structure classes, how to engage the kids in a stronger way, and also these kids will hopefully be growing up in the shul, right? So hopefully they're young teens now, and they'll be older teens, and they'll be part of the leadership now, training those who come after them as well. Hopefully, it'll be a legacy. So
terrific, amazing. So that should be a great lunch, and the benefit I think will redound, for weeks to come. So that's really great. So we're recording this after having spent some time chatting about the weeks ahead and things happening in the shul. We sort of had it's like a work meeting that is sort of flowing into a podcast recording session. So like very much in our mind are like the things that we're planning and for the weeks ahead at the shul. And I'm really excited about the plans that are coalescing for, I guess we don't have a title for it. I've been calling it the Purim Extravaganza. There was a desire for an extravaganza, so we are having a Purim Extravaganza.
Say like the big reunion.
The big reunion, okay.
Something with we got to do alliteration. That's probably your best bet.
Alliteration is my favorite literary device, so I'm all about...
a haiku named event.
Alliteration. So can we say a little bit about the content, like what we are having? This is Purim afternoon. Kids, adults, like what's going on?
It'll be Purim afternoon, and it's going to be community-wide, welcoming everyone back, kind of this feeling of really seeing each other again and being able to celebrate, especially on Purim, which was kind of a traumatizing moment in Jewish communities across the world. There'll be kids' entertainment. We're going to have an animal show, a reptile show for kids at the beginning. It'll start around 4:30 or so, and we'll have pre-entertainment for the Megillah. We'll also... hopefully have games around, a Mishloach Manot making station. We'll have an efficient and accurate and festive Megillah reading.
Amazing.
At, what was our timing for that exactly?
Like 5:15 or so?
5:15 to 6-ish. Shkia is pretty late and it works in our favor. And then we're going to have a catered meal also with bartending. That'll be a lot of fun. And we'll have an entertainer. Should I tease it, or do you?
Go ahead. I think you can. He hasn't signed the contract yet, but
he hasn't signed the contract yet. But we've been in extensive conversation. His name is Ari Lesser. He's actually doing a tour throughout Chicagoland, and he's very sought after. He does these really fun songs, and he has a repertoire of songs that is vast. And he does improvisation, I think. And it's gonna be really fun. He can make up songs about anything, including holiday themes, but also anything else. And that's gonna be really fun to have him around.
He has a very like extensive like YouTube channel. Yes. So I spent some time like looking at some of it. He has I think his kosher animal rap is very creative. that I enjoyed. I think he's a very, very talented and talented person. So educational and fun. Okay, yeah. So that's Purim afternoon,
and that'll be around while we also have other entertainment happening for the kids. It's going to be a center on Halstead. It'll be really lovely to have all the shul gather there and feel excited about coming together, celebrating our reunion. And,
amazing. And you don't have,
doing mitzvot together.
Yeah, we're also having Megillah reading at the conventional times. It's Purim night, Purim morning, Shacharis, right? All the normal Megillah readings are happening. But since we wanted to have a Purim celebrate, I think in this year, Purim is so late, to have a kids event, Erev Purim, it just gets very, very late. And I know it's just hard for some families with younger children. Mm-hmm. It's also always a little bit awkward to have a kids event with food and snacks on what is for adults a fast day, Tiny Esther. So it's always like an awkward moment. So this way we avoid that. We have like a long Purim afternoon. We can have
and
event.
We incorporate like actual asiyat mitzvot, right?
Yes,
if it's day of,
yes.
We can do the mitzvot of the day together,
correct.
And it's a great opportunity to do that, especially if you can't do it early when you're rushing off to work, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, exactly. So I think it's going to be really special, and I'm really excited.
There'll be Torah, there'll be mitzvot, there'll be fun, there'll be games, there'll be food.
And reptiles.
And reptiles.
Who are not food. Amazing. So
reptiles are friends, not food.
Reptiles are friends, not food. Correct. So look to your emails and look to the bulletin, and hopefully in the coming days, as the details get fleshed out, the event will be publicized, and this should be fun. It should be really, really fun. So thank you for all the work that you put in. Yeah, it's gonna. So Purim is always a great time at Asher Shalom, and I think it's really great this year. It's going to be really fun again, and fun in a new way, which I think is what we need to do, right? We have to always rethink and try new things, and so I think it's going to be really great. I'm teaching, it's a new old class that is meeting now on Tuesdays. So I think by the time I guess this is released, it'll probably have already happened, but it's actually been happening in sort of like a beta mode for like a month or so. I've been gathering with a group for, I'm calling it an Advanced Halakhah Reading Group. These are people who have stronger Hebrew reading skills, and we've been reading through a very long but pretty clearly written halachic monograph, Tshuva, by Rav Re'ema Cohen on conversion to Judaism in modern Israel. It's a really fascinating essay, and it's like I had like a little a beta group of early testers, people who I knew would be able to read through a Hebrew text and discuss it, and now I think we have some momentum, so we're opening the class for others, and it's the material is long enough that you can jump in now and not you'll be okay even if you missed a couple of weeks. We'll fill you into the ideas that he shared and developed up until now, but he's really laying a foundation for the halachic process writ large, what it means to that halacha is not a sort of a dry mathematical kind of calculation, but it has to take into account the specific circumstances of the case at hand, that a judge rendering a halachic decision has to have really deep connection to the circumstance. So one great example that is there as an example of just this type of contextual halachic thinking, an early tshuva by Rav Kook, written to him from a small community in Australia. Someone says, is it appropriate that the person leading the services at our synagogue, who's also the Bal Koreh and the Shochet and doing all these community functions, that this person isn't actually Sabbath observant and keeps the store open on Shabbos? Is that really okay? And Cook said, no, that's really not okay. Somebody who is working and keeps the store open on Shabbos shouldn't have all of these really sensitive ritual roles in the community. And then he got a second letter from that same community and said, oh, it turns out this man, it's his. He's the only reason the shul exists. And the letter was sent by members of the competing Reform synagogue down the street who felt that it was just hypocritical that the Orthodox shul, had this guy, whose store was open on Shabbos, so they were trying to undermine him by writing to Rav Kook, and Rav Kook said, well, now that I realize that this is the only reason why this why Orthodox Judaism exists in the city, not great, but don't rock the boat right now and keep the guy in this function. I think also it was his wife who ran the store, not him anyway. So it was an interesting example of just how you can't render halachic judgments in abstract. You have to take into account the full context of the civic situation, and that's sort of one memorable sort of tidbit that we've encountered in the class. But others who are who can have a basic reading knowledge of Hebrew should join, and if that's not you, we'll come speak to me. We'll find some time to offer some sort of distilled version of the class, for those who need a little bit more scaffolding or translation. Just the context of the class, this long tshuva by Rav Re'ema Cohen was written in the context of the Israeli Minister of Religious Affairs, Minister Kahana, who is trying to advance legislation to radically or substantially change the way that, among other things, conversion to Judaism functions in Israel. And this tshuva is sort of the halachic piece that's supporting his initiatives. I think most of the rabbinic establishment in Israel is opposed to these changes, but there are some rabbis who are in favor, and this is the theoretical work that's underpinning it. They want to allow or return to a prior status quo where rabbis of cities and communities could oversee conversions in their own cities and communities, and with the understanding being that they could have a little bit more flexibility about standards and procedures. And this is a tshuva. This is a 150-page argument in favor of somewhat more relaxed conversion standards. Not very relaxed conversion standards, but somewhat more relaxed conversion standards.
What brought you to this tshuva?
It was shared with the RCA. The Rabbinical Council of America shared it a few weeks ago. They had the current chief rabbi, the Ashkenazi chief rabbi, Rabbi Lau, is very opposed to these reforms, very opposed to this legislation, and he is trying to get like Orthodox rabbis all across the world to like come out publicly supporting him and his position against the legislation. So he reached out to the RCA to ask to speak to the rabbis and to sort of share his perspective, and he did. And then there were some members of the RCA, well, now that we've heard from the chief rabbi, can we hear from somebody from the government, from the minister, or some rabbi associated with that? And so the minister spoke to the RCA like a day or two later, and he first sent along, here's this Jew, read this first. And I heard that in the Dayanis Kola at YU is also learning through this Tshuva right now. Someone told me, someone saw the event on Facebook and said, oh, they're learning this, and, the Dayanim, the future judges are reading through this. So it's a beautiful essay. It's very, even if you can't, anyone who's able to, I'd recommend reading through it if you can.